Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast update for the Corn Belt. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, give me 30-45 seconds here before I jump into the forecast. I want to talk straight to my Nutrien Ag Solutions customers, growers, CPAs, and let you know that we're going to be changing up how we deliver this regional content to you each week. We're going to stop doing all of the U.S. regional video content Tuesday and Friday. Instead of spending all of this time and bandwidth producing these long videos, just trying to cover the next 5 to 7 days, Eric's already doing a pretty good job of covering in depth the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday and Thursday ag forecast video, in our Wednesday U.S. long-range weather analysis, which neither of those are going anywhere. Instead, we're going to turn this landing page where on the Nutrien Ag Solutions or Agrible customer and employee portal, when you click on the Corn Belt, the South, or the Northeast, instead of seeing a video twice a week there, instead at the top of the page, I'm going to be posting every day throughout the day updates on the highest impact weather across each region. So again, instead of twice a week just getting a 10 to 12 minute video forecast that's fairly redundant compared with the other video content we're already putting out, we're going to scale that back and instead be pushing out more frequent, more specific updates on the near-term hazards. So you can get that long-range forecast, you know what's coming over the next few days, you know what to expect over the next several weeks. But when you want to know, how likely is it we're going to get frost tonight? How likely are these severe storms we're expecting later on today? The short-term, high-impact, highly localized threats, that's where I feel that I can add the most value to you. So at the end of this video, I've got my email address. I've also got my social media handle there because I want to hear from you. I want to know, in the absence of these videos, what are the things that you want to know about every day? Some of the hazards that you're worried about every day. Just to make sure that we get this laid out right. So Eric and I are working on that over the next 1 to 2 weeks. And then next week is going to be the last week that we'll be doing all of the regional videos. And then we'll be converting this over to more of a Nowcast page. So I appreciate your time here. That was definitely not 30 to 45 seconds, but I just want to let you know this is a big change, but one that I think that is going to be of value to you all. And it will allow me to kind of utilize my strengths a lot more instead of just producing this video content. So here we go. Let's take a look at it, though. Let's get into a couple more videos here for the Corn Belt. We'll start off with the satellite picture on Friday morning. We've got a series of troughs moving in. Again, we've been talking about this storm track that's kind of through the Canadian Prairie, the Pacific Northwest, down into the midsection of the country. Most of these storm systems making fairly dry passages, though. We're not seeing much in the way of accumulating snow across the region. It's been a very kind of cold and brown last few days across the midsection of the U.S. We take a look at the radar, and again, we've got a trough making its way through this, through the midsection of the United States, through the central U.S. right now. Very little in the way of precipitation there, just some light snow flurries making their way through parts of the Dakotas into Minnesota and eventually Wisconsin. We look at temperatures across the region, and we've got a narrow band here of some pretty cold air that's made its way in here. Teens and 20s from Wisconsin down into portions of the Illinois and Indiana border there, with slightly warmer air being drawn into the central plains ahead of our next approaching disturbance in the midsection of the country. On the left, we've got the hazards map from the National Weather Service, and on the right, we've got the 7 a.m. surface analysis from Noaa. And again, you can see the system in the middle of the U.S. here that's going to pass quickly from west to east, bringing a little bit of light rain to parts of the eastern Corn Belt, but really passing relatively quietly, as are many of the systems we've got making their way through here. The next several here, this is the next 7 days of accumulated precipitation. And again, we're keeping things pretty dry across the midsection of the country. The exception across the Corn Belt is going to be in parts of the Mid-South and the Eastern Corn Belt, where, again, some of these systems will just barely get some of their precipitation going before they move on off to the north and to the east. Total snow forecast between now and 7 a.m. on Monday. A little bit of light snow falling this weekend across northern Minnesota into northern Wisconsin and portions of northern Michigan. That is just about it. So we'll look at 500 millibars, heights, and vorticity, looking at the overall pattern, again, watching the storm track from the North Pacific through the Pacific Northwest down into the central U.S. It's a storm system here mid-next week that I want you to see. This big one here that comes swinging in, let's go ahead and we'll step back, of course. Here's the system right now, making its way through the middle of the country, doing so with a dry passage, just a little bit of light moisture in the eastern Corn Belt and the Mid-South this weekend from that one. See another chance for some light precipitation as we get into early next week. Before midweek, this big trough comes swinging down out of northern Canada. That's going to bring a shot of cold air down into parts of the Great Lakes and the Midwest, bringing some of the coldest air of the season as we get to around December 24th and 25th, the Christmas holiday. Between now and then, temperatures are largely going to be remaining a little bit mild, a little bit north of average. So here's the precipitation forecast that accompanies all of this. Again, as we head into the rest of the day today, we'll be quiet across the Corn Belt, aside from a little light snow in northern Minnesota. The system organizes and begins to produce a little bit of light rain in parts of Illinois, southern Missouri as we head into the day on Saturday. Not much showing up here. I think this is going to be more of a gloomy, drizzly light rain with maybe a few hundredths of an inch across portions of central Illinois into central Indiana. The system continues off to the east as we get into Saturday night and Sunday, producing some light rain and snow across portions of Ohio. We then quiet back down across the midsection of the country. We wait for our next system to zig out of the northern plains, bringing a little bit of light snow to parts of, again, the North Dakota, northern Minnesota, into Wisconsin as we head through the day on Monday. This one really passes quickly through the Corn Belt, leaving very little in the way of precipitation. Again, a chance for some snow here, but we're really talking about a light coating of additional snow up to maybe an inch or two. We get this big system then midweek. This is the big trough. Again, a 994, 990 something millibar low right in the midsection of the country. Still some disagreement on the exact strength and location, but this one would bring a little band of snow across portions of the northern plains near the U.S. and Canada border, into portions of Minnesota, maybe Iowa, into Wisconsin and Michigan. And then once again, relatively dry in the mid-Mississippi Valley before getting a little bit of rain, maybe some light snow going across the eastern Corn Belt, eastern Illinois into Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and Tennessee. This is, again, Wednesday and Thursday of next week. On the backside, much colder air comes in on the heels of this out of northern Canada. Again, as we look at the total snow on the ground, current snow cover, I guess would be the way that we would describe that, looking at a big void across the Canadian prairie, through the northern plains, into the upper Midwest, where, again, we would expect to see some snow on the ground here as we get into the third week of December, but it has just not happened. We haven't had the right trajectory. We haven't had the right type of storm systems. We've seen shots of cold air at times, but relatively it's been a dry start to the winter and a relatively mild start to the winter. So who's going to get snow between now and Christmas? Who's going to get that white Christmas? Not many across the midsection of the U.S. This is the probability of picking up 1 inch or more, only 1 inch over the next 6 days, and where you could find those higher, 80 to 90% probabilities guaranteeing that inch. You're talking about portions of North Dakota, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, northern and lower Michigan. But as you get south of that, we're talking about nothing here. It's likely going to be a cold brown Christmas across much of the Corn Belt. Just verbatim, here's the 7-day snow forecast from the latest European operational run. So this is not likely exactly how it's going to happen, but even this one, trying to be optimistic, only brings that snow down to northern portions of Iowa here as we get into mid-next week. Total precipitation accumulation here between now and December 24th, the end of the day. Again, these systems come swinging in. They really don't get their precipitation going until they get into kind of the southeast, into the far eastern Corn Belt and the mid-south. So who's going to get more than a half an inch of precipitation here? We're talking about Kentucky and Tennessee, really along and south of the Ohio River. Portions of southern Indiana and far southern and eastern Ohio could see that half an inch to an inch. But much of the Corn Belt here is going to be getting, sprinkles, light snow flurries at best here as we head through the next 7 days. Now we're talking about some cold air. It's been a relatively mild start to climatological winter, but we are starting to pool some really cold air across northern portions of Canada. Now this air is going to be staying up there over the next several days as it kind of circulates around an area of low pressure across northern Canada, across the Arctic, but that midweek storm system, that midweek trough taps into this air mass then and allows it to spill down into the Corn Belt. I'll hit play on this. Here you go. Warm conditions into next week, and there it is. That cold air comes sliding in as we get into late Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Between now and then, though, here are your highs over the next 5 days. Again, 20s, 30s, and 40s as you make your way across the northern plains into the eastern Corn Belt. 40s and 50s in the warm spot here, Kansas into Missouri. Here are your highs on Saturday. This is Sunday. We continue to warm up as we head into Monday and Tuesday. colder air to follow as we head into Wednesday and Thursday.